Hey YouTube, it's Matt with Olympus Reptiles. I'm sorry my voice is a little bit off today. I know it's scratchy, but bear with me. Today what we're going to talk about is how to look at your snakes and kind of watch them going through the process to get them to laying eggs, right? And we'll go into a little more detail on some of the extra little tricks and things we use on Patreon, so make sure and check that out as well. If you're not a member, Kurt always puts a link in the description. You should join up, especially just for the Discord. It's worth its weight in gold. Oh, also, if you're local, I got a cool new hat. So there's a really kick-ass restaurant and bar opening up, and they gave me a hat. You got to go check that out. From what I've been told, it's going to be like nothing Manhattan has. So I'm really excited. But on to today's content. And we're going to start with the obvious one. So I've got this girl here, and this is a big, big female. Okay? Big, big female. So I'm just going to set her on the table for now. And from the top, you may not see it unless you've looked a long time. If you know what you're looking for, you can kind of see it here. And this is a female who is, I'm pretty confident we're going to get eggs from. Easy, girly. I don't know if she's fully ovulating and is coming down, or if I've actually been out of town for a few days, or if we're building towards it. But when you hold her this way, you can see that to this. You can run your fingers, you can feel it change. Very girthy through here. Looks like she had a really big meal, right? There's no meal here. She actually didn't eat for Kurt this week. You'll get to the point on these girls where these scales will actually start to even spread, and you'll see skin between them. That is usually at full ovulation. So when you're starting to see that ovulation coming and the ovulation happen, you're going to get eggs. It's going to happen. Or you're going to have other major problems. You kind of see skin spreading when she's bent over here. Now this snake is not overweight. I know somebody's going to say, oh, that ball python looks fat. Ball pythons are a medium to heavy-bodied snake, not nearly as heavy as, say, a carpet. Are you tail wagging at me, girly? What are you doing? But here's how you tell if your ball python is fat. See there? If I put her together, you'll get a little bit of the skin to fold, but you don't, when she's laying like this, you don't have folds and ripples really easy. She has to almost be compressed. So since she's not having that, then she is good to go. She looks bigger because of being gravid. And one of the other differences between this and a meal is when you feed a meal, that stomach's going to set about halfway down, right about here. So you're going to see that swelling, right? If you look here, we pick her up and keep my hand there at the stomach, it's going to be a lot lower. Instead of being about half, it's about that back, right behind the half, probably the back third is where you'll really kind of see that. Boom. See that right there? You can really see it from the side. So she is doing good. I'm going to put you up because I would imagine having to hang like that is probably not the most comfortable at her size. She's been one of our biggest producers that we keep, and she's also been very much like clockwork. She produces every year and puts her weight back on. There's a few other things you can look for. I'm going to show you with this girl here. I'm going to open her about that far. This is a really good sign. This is a snake that's laying in a coil. We may have missed ovulation on here. And this doesn't always mean we're going to get eggs, but this is typically how you would see them laying before they lay, kind of in that coil with that tail on the inside. I don't think she's ready to lay yet. She just kind of happens to be doing that. They'll also do what's called side laying. That's when their body will turn on the side. And you can kind of see here too, please don't bite me, because her spine's on the outside. I know you hate this. And that is very typical of a snake that's trying to get ready to lay. They get kind of uncomfortable, so they turn, they lay on their side. You'll even catch them sometimes belly up. And there's some theories as to that. Let me look at a few of these other ones. Well, you're not a good example of what I want. You're not a good example of what I want either. So, once you get, let's talk about kind of your whole process. So when you're getting your females ready, the first thing is you need to get them to size. We like our females to be at least 1,500 grams their first go. I have cheated on that a little bit. If I got a snake really pounding food and her age is right, which is minimum of 3 years, right? I will never go early on a snake that's not over 3 years old. Then we'll go ahead and go for it. I'm talking like they're at 1,410 pounds. They just took a crap, or not, well, 1,410 grams. They just took a crap and they're eating every week. We might go ahead and try a couple pairings. I mean, we've been guilty of that. But typically you want 1,500 grams is a good kind of rule, and about 3 years old. If you get to 1,500 grams at 2 years, you can go ahead and go for it. If somehow you get there in a year, I would never breed that snake. At least 2 years old, 1,500 grams. And then if you've had a snake that's already laid before, you you kind of want it to get to about the same size or bigger than it was the year before. You don't want it to be smaller if it's struggling to gain weight. We have one that's eating good now, but this year struggled to put weight back on from last year. Just struggled to get back on food. We had to do a few tricks to finally get her. And guess what we're doing? Not breeding her, right? We're not going to breed her. I don't want her to have a clutch this year. Could she still? Yeah, she could. I can't control retained sperm and those things, but my goal is for her to not have a clutch because she didn't get to the weight. So it's best for me to let that animal wait, right? She got way too thin. So we gave her a year off. If you get them back to that size, then they're okay to start breeding. We usually pair ourselves kind of starting about the end of October, first part of November. And then this is where tracking your feeds is very, very important, okay? And I'll pull up that girl's feed chart who I picked out and kind of show you this. Maybe. Yeah. Oh, there it is. And you can see she's been eating really, really good, right? These are medium rats. That one she skipped. So she skipped. She could just have a big poop in there. I mean, that's possible, but she's been pooping, so I doubt it. So they'll start to skip, but they usually eat really well leading up to start building, go off food, ovulate, and then stay off until they have eggs. So then as you're tracking your feeds, something else you can end up doing, if I get these out of order, Kurt will literally kick my ass. So let me not do that, because then it makes it take longer on feed, and he yells at me and is like, why didn't you pay attention? Which is, would have every valid reason to do. It's like I can look at these feed charts too. This is a good example. This one has quit eating. So when you see that on your feed charts, that's a snake that might be worth giving a check to. See what's going on. Right? Now she's not near as big, but she is at weight. The other one's just, and you can kind of see a little pudge there. So we might be starting our building process. Oh man, look at that. That actually looks pretty good. So you can see that right there. This is about midway. So this might be kind of exciting. So now that's a snake to watch. So right now, missing feeds is not something where I'm like, oh man, my snake didn't eat. I literally about once a week kind of go through here and say who ate, who didn't eat, what's going on. Like, oh, this girl hasn't eaten in a few weeks. I would go, I would pull her out, and I would see what's going on with her. Is she just skipping meals? Or is there something going on? You saw that pudge on that last one. Well, here, look. You don't see that. I don't see that pudge at all. You didn't like that girl. It's all nice and straight. I'm not seeing that sign. So I'm like, well, she's just skipping to be difficult. She may not have really hit that building up phase yet. So every now and then she's going to skip. She's getting close to shed. And you can see her feed sheet tells that story. We've been kind of on again, off again, on, off. So it's not uncommon for her. But this is one of those things you do. Now look at this one. A lot of people look at this snake. We started this sheet, ate, didn't eat, ate, and hasn't eaten forever. And you go, oh man, shit, that snake, that's not good, right? That's a problem. What is going on? Well, I'll show you what's going on. While we're at it, I'm going to change your water dish out. There's what's going on. Now, this snake is a great example of what I want to show. This is an animal that's past ovulation, so I'm going to pick her up. I know, girlie. She probably won't be real happy about it. And if you look close, you will still see some slight swelling, but not like we saw on the first snake, right? That is because she has already ovulated, and now we're starting to get those eggs are growing in spot. And you see this very clean spot here where she's pushed all the litter out. That's called nesting. So it's very common for a female ball python to take that litter and push it out and try to begin to nest it up. So she'll lay that egg and kind of set in there. That's a very common thing. This is a really good sign. This is a snake I expect eggs out of. And I expect eggs probably in the next, I don't know, 3 weeks maybe. Set that there so I'm going to fill it in a second. So you can kind of see how it goes. We pound food, ovulate, stop. That's kind of how this process is. And you'll see that swell, you'll see it go down, and then you're going to see it build back up slowly, and they're going to end up laying eggs. That's a prime example. This is another one. I can just kind of lean forward there and show you. She's nested up. And she'll stay in that position. And they'll kind of stay, honestly, in that position for a good length of time. And then they're going to get out of it when they're close to laying. They kind of get uncomfortable, start moving around, trying to move things around, get things going. And then they'll lay eggs. And then, of course, you got to take them and go into incubation. So, Kurt, any questions you got?
Nope.
Not a single question.
On that feed sheet of Pandora,
yes,
there was a ×2 on it.
Yeah.
What is that?
So here, she actually ate 2 medium rats. Now you're like, oh, that's power feeding. Well, with a snake that big, it's really not. We do that on occasion. And what we'll do is, like, she had not eaten really well until we finished her sheet, so we had to make a new one. If I had the last sheet, I could probably show you. She picked up probably 4 or 5 feeds before, and then she skipped. And then here, you could just tell she was really hungry. So we kind of knew, hey, I think she's entering that process. This is her last attempt to pack on weight. So bam, I mean, she's taken as soon as it hits a tub. Here, where I checked her after eating the first one, she came at me. Like, I wasn't like trying to entice her. She came out at me to get more food. So we gave her a second one, and bam, she took it. Here, we did the same thing, but she didn't want the second. So then we didn't even offer the next few times. So again, we're not going to power feed these guys, but that is what it means. She actually ate 2 rats in that setting. And you'll see that on occasion. And you only typically see that, especially on medium rats like that, with our bigger snakes. You will see like wean ×2 occasion on some that were kind of growing up that kind of get to that point. And if they're not eating, we actually step back to a smaller meal, but that's a topic for an entirely another day to get our animals eating again, and it tends to work. That and African softwares. Any other questions, Kurt?
No.
We'll do a whole video on my ball python won't eat. That's a damn good video. So, all right, we'll catch you next week.